Hello, guys. Today's topic comes from Dan Dufour. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Dan. He submitted his question on Instagram. So if you have any questions that you want me to cover, topics, just let me know on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll be happy to talk about them if I find them interesting. So Dan's question was, at what belt level, do you think students should start learning the more dangerous submissions? And then he lists off a list of submissions like heel hooks, calf slicers, neck cranks. So, first of all, those submissions are deemed dangerous, mainly by the IBJJF, so they're not allowed in IBJJF competitions. So, a lot of schools don't teach them. Some students never learn those submissions, while other schools that don't really focus on sport competition might teach them from day one. So, my opinion, I kind of go back. I like looking at things from a historical point of view. So, if we look at jiu-jitsu, back in Kano's time, Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, he basically took some techniques out of jiu-jitsu when he compiled the database of techniques that judo would focus on. And the techniques that he took out, he said that he took them out because they were dangerous. And of course, this is a martial art that we're practicing, but he had brought a vision for a lot of people practicing. Now, when you look at the typical traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu school in Japan during that time, the 1800s, or the 1900s, even early, before it was judo, the jiu-jitsu schools were very small, so the student-teacher ratio was very low. When the ratio is low, the teacher can pay close attention to make sure nobody is getting injured. Even so, back then, jiu-jitsu schools were pretty brutal. It was common for jiu-jitsu instructors to be bone setters because there were dislocations and broken bones that were happening frequently during training, from what I understand. So Kano said, you know what, this is no good. If judo is really going to grow, if the grappling arts are really going to grow in Japan and worldwide, we can't be getting injured all the time. We have to have things in place where we can teach large groups of people without great risk of injury. So that's what he did. He took out some of the more dangerous techniques of jiu-jitsu, and if you've trained judo, you know that things still hurt and you can still definitely get injured. But I believe that things like neck cranks were taken out at that time from judo. So, should we follow in his footsteps? I think yes and no. First of all, I believe that every black belt should have a decent knowledge of all techniques. Now, it's hard to say all because the number of techniques is basically limitless, but as far as, you should know a little bit about everything. You don't want to be getting submitted by somebody who travels to your gym from another academy that just because you don't know the move. So yes, I think you should learn those techniques, definitely by black belt. Now, my friend Gokor Chivichin, he has a school in Los Angeles, and he teaches heel hooks and neck cranks from day one. A fresh white belt. If they come in there, depending on the day's lesson, he might learn heel hooks or a neck crank. And Gokor says, his words to me on that matter were that, look, any submission can be dangerous if you crank it, or if you don't tap. If you don't tap to an arm bar, your arm might get dislocated. So I understand that, and I agree with that. But, for example, at the school where I train, at Gracie Baja headquarters, there can be dozens of people on the mat. There can be 50 students on the mat, and you might not know all these guys. And the problem with not knowing everybody is, number one, that you don't know if that student knows anything about a heel hook. He might defend the wrong way and injure himself. And on the other hand, you might come across some crazy guy that just cranks submissions. So with larger academies, I think you have to be a little bit more careful. And some students have told me, look, I'm a professional, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, whatever the case may be. I'm never going to get into a street fight. I might compete once in a while, but I do not want to learn heel hooks. I'm not going to even take that chance. I don't care. So, I don't think it's fair to force those guys to train submissions if they don't want to. But my personal point of view is that if you are going to be a black belt, you need to know a little bit about all the major moves, and you should know how to stay safe. And let me just tell you a quick story. Talking about Gokor again, I used to go up there once in a while around blue belt because I liked the fact that he focused on different things that other people didn't focus on. And so we were sparring. I don't know, it was a no-gi class, so you never know the rank of the other people you're sparring with, but I was rolling with this guy, and he put me in a neck crank. And I should have tapped, but I didn't. It didn't hurt at the time, and I thought I can power through it. And the guy was really surprised. He's like, "Wow, I can't believe you're not tapping." And I eventually got out of it, or he gave up, and I think I won the match, so it felt good. But I could not turn my head to the side for a few days after that. So that was stupid. I should have tapped. And but that's the problem. When you don't train submissions, you don't know how far you can or can't go. And nowadays, I train all submissions. It's usually an agreement that I have with my training partners. I'm not just going to roll with any random white belt. I'm not going to heel hook them. But, when I roll with my high-ranking friends or other instructors, sure, we'll go for heel hooks, neck cranks, all that stuff. And the important thing is, when you are going to be practicing these techniques that are more dangerous, you have to be able to trust your partner. There are some people that I will not train heel hooks with because I don't trust the fact that they're going to let go if I tap. Some guys have such a big ego that they're just going to crank something if they can get it, and that's not the way to train. We are putting our limbs in the lives of our training partners, and we need to do that with great care, because if we don't have training partners, that means we can't train. Jiu-jitsu is not something you can train by yourself. So bottom line is, if you have training partners that you trust, if you have if you can trust your training partners not to crank stuff, and ideally just they catch the submission and allow you to escape. They're not going to crank it, they just hold it. Then you can start increasing your confidence. You can become more comfortable feeling submissions, getting out of submissions, and that's the best. There's a lot more learning that can take place when you catch a submission and just lightly hold it and allow the guy to escape. But you make him escape the right way. That's the way I like to train. Other people might catch the submission and then just let it go and keep going. You don't have to tap someone every time. So I hope I've explained my point of view on this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you stay away from dangerous submissions? Are you waiting until you have a few more years under your belt or another color on your belt? Or are you practicing them from day one? Let me know. I'm curious what everyone else's thoughts are on the matter. But anyway, guys, keep on rolling.